That's fair. Yes, we do. She's the only one. Shit. That's probably for the conference room. All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Determine if a quorum is present. I am present. Council member Jeff Perry is absent. Matt Jones is present. Aaron Allen is absent. Randy Jones is present and Chuck Fox is present. Invocation and pledge of allegiance. Invocation tonight, we have Gene King, former mayor. You want to do it from the microphone? That way everybody can hear you, Gene?
Precious Lord, we come before you this evening. We ask you to extend your blessings upon the city of Aubrey here. We pray, Lord, for your protecting hand be with every city employee. We pray, oh precious Heavenly Father, that those that are elected officials to guide this city, we pray, precious Heavenly Father, that you grant them knowledge and wisdom to administer it in the right places and the right time. We pray, precious Heavenly Father, that you be the center of all of this city's activities. In thy precious name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands. All right, community announcements. Items of community interest may include recognizing citizens and staff for outstanding contributions to the community. A reminder about an upcoming event that's organized or sponsored by the governing body, and announcements of an imminent threat to public safety that's arisen after the posting of this agenda. Several proclamations. Lindsay Spencer and Lacey Bennett here for World Seafood Holiday. Whereas Aubrey's future strength depends on providing a high quality education to all students, and teacher quality matters more to student achievement than any other school related factor. And teachers spend countless hours preparing lesson plans and supporting students. And our Aubrey teachers have demonstrated great resilience, adaptability, and creativity during the COVID-19 crisis. And our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of this community. And #TeachersCan is a statewide movement supported by more than 150 partnering businesses and organizations committed to elevating the teaching profession and honoring the critical role teachers play in the success of Texas. And now therefore be resolved that the Aubrey City Council joins #TeachersCan and its partnering entities across Texas in celebrating World Teachers Day and proclaiming October 5th, 2023 to be Aubrey Teachers Day. And be it further resolved that Auburn City Council encourages members of our community to personally express appreciation to our teachers and display a light blue ribbon outside your homes or businesses the week of October fifth as a symbol of support for our educators.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Honorable Mayor and Council, as you remember, we introduced Recruit Officer Antonio Chamorro and Recruit Officer Carly Coker back in April. They both have successfully graduated from the police academy and represented the city well. Officer Chamorro graduated in the top of his class. Officer Coker was elected class president, was the valedictorian of the class, and tied for the top shot in the class. We're very proud of both of them, and tonight we will have a ceremonial swearing-in ceremony and welcome them to the field training portion of their journey at Aubrey PD. Congratulations to you both, and please come forward.
We'll do both all together on the square. So you can both raise your right hand. Say I, state your name. I,
Carly Coker,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of police officer
of the city of Auburn,
of the city of Auburn,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States,
of the United States,
the state of Texas,
the state of Texas,
and the city ordinances of the city of Auburn,
and the city ordinances of the city of Auburn,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Officer Coker will have a badge pinned by her boyfriend Tanner and Antonio by his wife Shauna Reed. Yes.
I have a proclamation for firefighter appreciation month. I know it's for the month of September. I know we're at the end of the month, but I'd rather do it late than not do it at all. So the Auburn Fire Department recognizes the benefits derived from the hard work, sacrifice, and dedication that fire service members have contributed throughout the country, including Aubrey and surrounding communities. The firefighters follow a long line of tradition and honor that inspires them to help colleagues, neighbors, and strangers alike. And the role of a firefighter today is one of dedication, commitment, sacrifice, and willingness to put their lives on the line to provide for the safety and welfare of the public through preservation of life, health, safety, and environment. And firefighters continue to play an integral role in protecting the health and well-being of our community members, preventing and preparing for the emergencies when they arise. And at a moment's notice, firefighters are quick to respond to uncertain situations to mitigate danger and combat the threat of destructive fire in order to protect individuals, families, and the economic being of our community. And the demands of firefighting are accompanied by both personal and physical tolls that all firefighters knowingly accept while risking their lives to protect the lives of others. Now therefore, I, Mayor Chris Rich, do hereby proclaim September 2023 as Firefighter Appreciation Month. And I encourage all citizens to show support and appreciation for our city, county, state, and federal firefighters who protect our lives and property so diligently throughout the year, and by remembering past firefighters who dedicated their lives to preserve our safety.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. We have two recent promotions that we'd like to recognize tonight. The first is going to be Paul Key. Paul was recently promoted to the rank of captain, and he assumed command of Station 1 here in downtown Aubrey. And so we're really excited to see the work that he's going to be doing there. He's already doing a fantastic job. Paul has 4 years of fire service experience, 2 in Oak Point and 2 here in Aubrey. And we're really excited to have him on our team and look forward to seeing what he's going to do in a leadership role in our organization. Paul brought several members of his family tonight. The most handsome future firefighter, I think, stepped out for a minute for a cool down. So who would you like to pin your badge? Right. You want to introduce your family? Probably get in trouble if you don't.
Yeah, this is my wife Alex, this is my mom, Sherry, my mother-in-law and my son are outside. And my dad was back in the back. Got the back of the head.
Oh, let's do a picture.
Can I get one? I just don't want to get anyone else.
The next is a driver engineer, Alec Canada. Alec's been with the department for 2 years now, and recently took the promotional exam for driver engineer and got the #1 spot on the test. And so he has received an assignment at Station 2 on C shift. And tonight he's going to have another firefighter, Dylan Moreau, pin his badge. Congratulations.
That's all.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We should have a quick community announcement. We do have the Peanut Festival coming up next Saturday, October 7th from 8 to 5, and the parade is at 10. The weather looks good. Fingers crossed. All the vendor spots are full and the parade is looking like it's gonna be as big as it was last year. So everything looks good. We hope to see everybody there.
Thanks, Christie.
Citizen input. Any person may address the city council. If your comments are concerning an agenda or an item on the agenda, you may wait till the discussion on that item if you prefer. Once recognized by the mayor, please step forward to the speaker's podium, state your name and address, and speak directly into the microphone so that people in the room and those attending remotely can hear comments and see presentations. To request to speak via video conference, click on participants at the bottom of the screen and click raise hand. The mayor will acknowledge your request and allow you to speak. Citizens' comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual unless additional time is otherwise required by law. No discussion or action may be taken at this meeting on any item not listed on the agenda other than to make statements of factual information or recite existing policy in response to a citizen's inquiry. We have Ted Lewis.
Mayor and council, I bring to you a proposal on volunteers from our church. You want to be able to participate in Auburn. You have 2 minutes. My name is Ted Lewis. I live at 2648 Liberty Circle, which is in the TJ of Aubrey. And we are proposing to be a group of volunteers to support Aubrey this time. We have 10 to 15 men that are available. They live in the community here and they're willing to participate and to help. They both have physical skills as well as mental skills, and they desire to participate in ongoing projects. And we've already volunteered almost to participate in the Peanut Festival the next week. We belong to a church that's located on Martop Road in Oak Point, but we have our members here. We're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And we will be able to supply our own leaders and be able to support the city of Aubrey. And so we're first gonna hopefully have a part of the Peanut Festival. My wife and I've lived here for about 46 years now, so we saw the peanuts grow right here and ate some of them. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Right. Consent items. Items placed on the consent agenda are considered routine in nature and non-controversial. Consent agenda can be acted upon in one motion. Items may be removed from the consent agenda by the request of council members or staff. Consideration and action on the following. Minutes from the following city council meetings, August 24th and August 26th. Staff reports, monthly financial report, award a bid to Tex Pro Construction for the 2021 CDBG CDV 21-0063 water system improvement in an amount not to exceed $112,793 and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement. Award a bid to McDonald Municipal and Industrial for the pump station generator project in an amount not to exceed $393,288 and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement. An administrative agreement between the city of Aubrey and the Aubrey Municipal Development District and authorize the mayor or his designee to execute the agreement. An ordinance designated an official newspaper for the city of Aubrey. An interlocal cooperation agreement with the city of Krugerville's Community Development Corporation for library services and authorize the mayor or his designee to execute the agreement. An interlocal cooperation agreement with Denton County for library services and authorize the mayor or his designee to execute the agreement. A local agreement respecting forfeited contraband under Chapter 59 and Article 18.18 Texas Code of Criminal Procedure with the Denton County District Attorney's Office, authorizing the city manager and chief of police to execute the agreement. An interlocal agreement with the city of Krugerville and Mustang Special Utility District for wastewater service and authorize the mayor or his designee to execute the agreement. A professional services agreement for traffic engineering on-call services with Lee Engineering for traffic engineering and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement. A professional civil engineer, land surveying and landscape architecture services agreement with Westwood Professional Services, Inc. and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. A professional services agreement for on-call planning services with HE Planning Plus Design LLC and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. Final acceptance of the capital improvement projects W1, S2, and S6.2 and authorized payment of $3,022,130.78 to Aubrey 81 West LP in accordance with the Keeneland Development Agreement. a permanent electric utility easement acquisition for FM 428 pump station improvement project, and a professional services agreement with RPGA for architect design services for the construction of a fire station, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
Mayor, if I could, I'd like to pull number 11. We've made a couple changes since the development or since the agreement was put in your packets, and I just wanted to make you aware of those. So in the, if you want to go ahead and start at the beginning, just make sure that we all know what the item's about. So Krugerville approached us about a year and a half ago. They were interested in sewer treatment services for a limited set of property along 377 for commercial purposes. So we worked back and forth trying to work an agreement with them and with Mustang. That property is in the Mustang CCN. So we've come to an agreement. Krugerville drafted the agreement. We've gone back and forth with legal with Mustang and think that we have it to a pretty good point. In addition to the language that was in the agreement, we've made it clear that impact fees will be assessed, and that's what's going to cover the capacity. Then the rate that we've established in the agreement is for the services, for the treatment services. That was part of the understanding, but it was not spelled out in the agreements. We added that. Krugerville's also probably going to adopt an ordinance, so the developers know upfront that they have to pay that when they connect. We also added the ability to be able to inspect the infrastructure since it will be connected to our system. Just want to provide that information, and if you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Questions? Thank you, Leanne. Any other items want to be pulled? Motion.
Move approval of consent agenda.
I'll take it. Motion by Chuck, second by Matt. All in favor? Yeah,
Sorry.
3-0. All right. Old business. These are unresolved items carried over from previous meetings. Hold a public hearing, consider an act on an ordinance zoning the Keeneland development from unzoned to PD district for uses consistent with the SF 75 district and delineated development standards for lot area, lot dimensions, yards, height, lot coverage, and landscaping on approximately 81.5 acres situated in the F. Trevino survey, abstract number 1243, generally located on the north side of Spring Hill Road, north of the terminus of Paradise Drive / Lone Star Lane. We're continuing the public hearing from August 24th.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Heather Schenkel. I'm with Messer Fort, and I'm here on behalf of the city to kind of update you on this item that you heard previously on August 24th, as had just been mentioned. This is a request to zone 81.5 acres known as the Keeneland development to a planned development district. This was originally heard and tabled by P&Z on August 10th and City Council on August 24th. P&Z recommended approval by a vote of 4-2 on September 14th. I'm gonna, since we have had discussion on these, I'm gonna move forward and we can come back if there's any questions. But as mentioned in August, the factors to consider are the development agreement, and it should be noted and also mentioned in August that the proposed PD is consistent with the development agreement. Other factors to consider are the impact of uses surrounding the properties and also the general welfare of the city. At this time, staff recommends approval, and as I previously mentioned, P&Z did recommend approval at 4-2. These are the potential motions before you today.
Do you have any questions, comments? Sure. Ron.
So good evening, council. My name is William Cherry. I live at 400 South Main Street. I would like to read from our zoning ordinance just briefly. It says standards set forth in specific zoning districts will be used as guidelines for planned developments. Modifications of standards may be considered if the modification substantially meets the intent of the ordinance and improves the overall development design, or if a unique project design is proposed which cannot readily be accommodated through other districts. Pecuniary reasons shall not be the sole reason for modifying standards. I had to look up pecuniary to make sure that I knew what it meant, and it basically means financial reasons. And so you said in the agenda item summary that this was for SF 75, and there is no single family zoning district in Aubrey that allows lot sizes less than 7,500 square feet. There is also no single family zoning district in Aubrey that allows lot coverage of more than 50%. And it seems to me that this proposal does not meet the intent of the zoning districts. And so approving it to me would be, I think, illegal under the plain reading of the zoning ordinance. So I would like to speak in opposition to approval.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom? We'll close the public hearing at 6:25. Okay. Guess we're ready.
Right, I'll move approval of the ordinance to zone Keeneland development from unzoned to PD.
Awesome. Motion by Chuck, second by Matt, all in favor? Passes 3-0. 19, hold a public hearing, consider an act on ordinance amending the zoning for a portion of the High Point Ranch development from AGR district and a portion of the property from unzoned to PD. District for shopping center district uses, certain commercial district uses, SF 75 district uses, and delineated development standards for lot area, lot dimensions, yards, lot coverage, building design, screening, and landscaping on approximately 460.7 acres situated in the F. Trevino survey, abstract number 1243, generally located on the northeast corner of Spring Hill Road and Highway 377. We'll continue the public hearing from August 24th.
Again, this item was previously discussed on August 24th, and it's a request to rezone the 467 acres from unzoned and the AGR residential to a planned development district. This item was originally heard and tabled by P and Z on August 10th and City Council on August 24th. On September 14th, P and Z did recommend approval by a vote of 4-2. And again, as mentioned in August, the factors to consider are the development agreement and the proposed PD, which is consistent with the development agreement. Now, other factors, again, are the impacts on the surrounding properties and the general welfare to the city. Staff recommends approval of this rezoning request, and as mentioned, P and Z did recommend approval 4-2. These are the potential motions before you this evening.
Any comments on this one?
I have the same comments, so that just for the record, but I won't repeat them.
They see the proposed map.
We go.
layout.
Move the slide back. Probably one more. Good cover. And we'll go public.
Oh, sorry.
Laura Stevens, I live at 7494 Puddin Hill Road. I'm sorry, I'm very new to this kind of thing. I'm concerned that they're trying to cram a lot of people in there. And I don't think that there's proper infrastructure in place. It's going to make the main thoroughfare a lot worse than it already is. There's just not enough here to support that many people. And yeah, traffic's already super bad. I just don't think it's a good idea.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom? That will end the public hearing at 6:29.
I'll move approval of the ordinance amending the zoning change for the portion of High Point Ranch development.
One second.
Motion by Chuck, second by Randy, all in favor? Passes 3-0. All right, new business, new items previously requested by council members, city staff, or citizens requested for consideration by the council. Hold a public hearing, consider an act on an ordinance amending the zoning for approximately 1.12 acres legally described as Lot 2, Block A of the Union Street Edition from SF10 district to SF75. District generally located on the northern terminus of Delenn Street, north of Spring Street. And then, we'll open the public hearing at 6:30.
Second, I'll let them get that over for.
We already opened the public hearing.
I can briefly explain to you, this is a rezoning application. And the P and Z opened the public hearing and continued it until October 12th. So there is no action that council could take this evening. The applicant at the P and Z meeting did ask for additional time to discuss with surrounding neighbors and also to update their submittal for compliance, because there were some compliance issues with subdividing the lot as they were requesting in their rezoning application.
Mayor and Council, do you want her to go ahead and go over the compliance issues, or do you want to wait until this comes back from P and Z? Because some of those might be remediated by then.
Happy to wait. Yeah. I won't spend any time discussing things that may not even be an issue by that.
Right. Right. So we'll just need to continue the public hearing to the October 24th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
Motion for that.
I'll move to continue the public hearing to October 24th.
One second.
All right, motion by Chuck, second by Randy, all in favor? 3-0.
At 6 p.m., just to clarify for the record.
10:24 at 6 p.m. Consideration and action on a preliminary plat, Lot 1, Block A, Aubrey Wedding Venue Edition, being 12.381 acres in the Francisco Trevino Survey, abstract number 1234, City of Aubrey, ETJ, Denton County, Texas, located on Spring Hill Road.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
So we have a preliminary plat to look at. this evening. The owner is Ramachandrula and Paramathmuni. The surveyor is CAS Surveying, and the location of this property, let me see. There we go. The location of this property is shown right there. And it is west of US 377 on the north side of Spring Hill Road, bounded on the east by the north extension of McNatt Road. And it was annexed into the city at the August 3rd, 2023 meeting. The original application date was in April, but there has been numerous resubmissions and negotiations regarding annexation, rough proportionality, determination, and rezoning for this property. The future land use plan calls this area to be the estate neighborhood, floodplain, and open space. It is currently undeveloped. And I'm not able to go to the next page. There we go. Can you zoom out? So you can see the open space in the north portion along here is your floodplain and open space area. The property has been annexed into the city in order to receive water and sewer services. Because of the extension of the water and sewer service lines, this plat becomes a major plat instead of a minor plat. The property will also be served by electricity with electricity by CoServe, and they've reviewed the plat and have no comment. AT&T has been contacted. They have not made comment, but they typically have their infrastructure within the right of way. The proposed preliminary plat encompasses a total of 12.381 acres and creates 2 lots. Any possible way that you could like zoom it out a little bit more so they can. Well, there we go. So we have, it's creating 2 lots. Lot 1, block A, is 9.2 acres. And lot 2, block A, is 2.01 acres. Lot 2 has the existing home on it and the barn and the infrastructure. And so the lot line has been created in such that it is adhering to the PD requirements for setbacks, the rear yard and the side yard. The northern portion we mentioned is in the floodplain, and the subdivision ordinance requires that all plats adhere to the zoning district in which it is located. And this plat addresses most of the zoning setback requirements, except for the 45-foot front yard building setback. You can, if you follow the building setback here, the front part of this encroaches just along the porch of the existing home. Due to the requirement for the right of way, there's a right of way requirement of 20 feet. You can see that in the shaded area right there. So they're dedicating right of way along Spring Hill Road, and they're also providing right of way for the extension of McNatt Road right there. The provision of the right of way pushes that front building line closer to the existing structure, and that is normally in any other situation, that's a grandfathered situation. Whenever TxDOT needs right of way, then they grab it, but the front building setbacks are pushed further, and the building is grandfathered. The one remaining issue that needs to be addressed is sewer. So we have a water easement along a 20-foot easement for water, but there is no easement for sewer provided for either one of these lots at the moment. So City Council shall review the plat, and your options are to approve it with conditions, or to deny it. The planner is recommending conditional approval of this plat. The sewer easement needs to be shown, and there needs to be coordination with the engineer and the developments to the north and west. My understanding is that there's sewer connection somewhere in here that the engineer is going to need to figure out how to connect. And so that's what we're waiting on. P and Z looked at this at their September 14th meeting and unanimously voted to conditionally approve the preliminary plat as recommended by the planner. I'm here to answer any questions. I don't believe I see anybody for the applicant here, so I'll do the best I can to answer any questions.
Did they adjust and add parking like they talked, like we asked in the last one?
They have not provided a site plan yet. That's the
Oh,
next
gotcha.
step.
Basically, all they're doing is cutting out the existing house and replatting that house separately.
Correct. Yes, they have to plat the property in order to build.
Right.
Yes, they're creating two lots and I don't know their business plan. I don't know if the house is supposed to be part of the wedding venue or not, but it could be, or it can just be a single family home.
Yeah, no. Contemplating. The setback requirement, because we're requiring them to give us the easement that.
The right of way
The
dedication.
right of way dedication is not that big of a deal, because it's kind of
It's just the front.
it's just a front
portion.
porch, and if TxDOT needs that property at some point in the future, TxDOT will get it anyway.
Well, remember, there's 45 feet between that gray shaded area that is gonna be the right of way and the front of the house.
Yeah.
So there's 45 feet they need to.
All right, I'll move approval with the conditions as stated by staff. Of the sewer easement and. What else was,
That was it.
that was it, okay.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Chuck, second by Matt, all in favor? Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. All right, hold public hearing, consider an act on ordinance amending Article 14 of the Aubrey Code of Ordinances by codifying the master thoroughfare plan and by adopting amendments to the master thoroughfare plan, a component of the comprehensive plan of the city of Aubrey. We'll open the public hearing at 6:41.
Good evening, council, mayor. I was here, if you recall, I think most of y'all were at the meeting in March, the city council meeting. We had presented the master thoroughfare plan at that time. And based on the discussion and some of the issues that were raised, it was decided to table it at that time and address some of the comments, make some modifications as needed. And so that's what I am back here today to present to you. So the presentation is. Thank you. All right, so this is the pretty much similar presentation. It's the same presentation as I had provided back in March. So I'm not sure how much I need to go back over and review. But just a quick overview of thoroughfare plan, of the process for those that weren't here. As stated in the future land use plan for the city of Aubrey, as it states right there, the thoroughfare plan identifies the alignment and rights of way for new and improved roadway corridors to accommodate future growth of the city. Is to help provide, like it says, future growth, future development, takes into account future development, future traffic demand. And so typically it's every 5 years, as you can see in the next slide. We're about 4 years from the previous one, and about 8 years from the previous full thoroughfare plan. And so you can see the previous iterations of the thoroughfare plan. 2014, 2015 was the last major upgrade to the thoroughfare plan. In 2019, it was a minor couple of adjustments for that one. So like I said, 4 years since the last tweak of it and 8 years since the last major upgrade. The July 2021, we were authorized to move forward with updating the thoroughfare plan. And as part of the process, we inventoried the current roadway, looked at the assessment of the current thoroughfare plan and putting together the proposed thoroughfare plan. We looked at the city of Dock documents that are relatable to this process as shown here. And then also surrounding thoroughfare plans of surrounding cities, because obviously you want roads from one city to kind of move over and stay similar nature within the city of Aubrey. So this is the existing thoroughfare plan. So as you can see, it was adopted April 23rd, 2019. And so that's what is currently in the city's ordinance. And so the next one is what we're proposing. And this is the draft as of last week, the 22nd. And so you can see there are several changes just flipping back and forth between them. The major arterials are still there, obviously 377, 1385, 2931. Those are TxDOT roadways. They have their own alignments and we just follow the path on those. But you can see that we've modified a few things and we'll go through those real briefly. One of the major things is the thoroughfare designation. Previously, we had what was called a minor collector. And as such, that type of roadway classification would require 80 to 60 feet of right of way. Upon multiple submissions for right of way dedication, it kind of a gray area as far as, okay, do I need 60 feet? Do I need 80 feet? Can I provide 74 feet, 62 feet? And so to make it more clear for what developers come in, they know exactly what right of way they're looking for. We split that into a major collector and a minor collector so that it's more well-defined what right of way they're needed for that type of roadway. The other things that we looked at is also the adjacent cities, because obviously since 2019/2015, adjacent cities have updated their thoroughfare plan as well. So we've had to update theirs to incorporate. So we had to have ours work with theirs, vice versa, just so they work together with each other. Just to break down by side of 377, which is obviously the major north-south route through the city. One of the things here is that we were trying to match Denton County. We've got Denton to the west and Denton County to the north. And so we have the Denton County map, we took that in consideration as well as proposed developments. One of the things here is the outer loop, which we'll get to in a minute, but that's obviously currently being worked on by the Denton County outer loop team. The other thing is Sherman Drive, as you can see by the arrow, but also by the aerial. So currently it goes underneath the railroad track at an angle and then feeds into 377 at a 90-degree angle. Teeing in at a 90-degree angle is good. That's what we like to see. It's just that curve that you come out going north on Sherman, going underneath the bridge and then hitting 377. So one of the things that let's see, there it goes. We can't really zoom it. You can't really see it right here, but in the thoroughfare plan, we basically kept the intersection where it is and proposing to work with TxDOT, because Sherman's a TxDOT roadway, as well as the railroad, to just move the current underpass up north to the north so that it aligns, so it's a straight shot to get to 377 and remove the horizontal curve that's there right now. So it's a safer option. It's just a matter of working with TxDOT and the railroad and getting the funding to do that. The other thing are the railroad crossings. One of the things we looked at was additional railroad crossings or elevating railroad crossings. One of the things with this is you have to, once again, work with the railroad company. And you also have to have, especially when you look at above grade or under grade railroad crossings. It's different than just building a bridge. Because you have to have certain clearance above the railroad tracks. You have to have the slope going to and from. So with the distance from 377 to the railroad, it makes it very difficult to provide a overpass because you'd have to go over 377 and also over the railroad track. Obviously, when the outer loop comes in, they have a much larger footprint, and they're able to take care of that at that time. But for the roadways on the thoroughfare plan, there are none that are identified at this point. Looking at the east of 377, this is where it has changed a little bit more than the west side. So once again, this takes into account TxDOT's updated plans for 1385 and 2931, which are, and 377. I believe those are proposed to be let in 2025, 2026. That's when they're supposed to be bid out for construction. So that takes that into account, as well as existing and proposed developments. Obviously, there's been a lot of growth in Aubrey since 2015, since 2019. And so some of the previous alignments we had needed to be adjusted because there's a subdivision or business that's right through the middle of the line. And that's one of the things too that I'll say right here is that the line does not represent an exact point of where the roadway will go. Provides a general alignment of where the roadway needs to be, but taking into consideration anything that is apparent looking at it from a general perspective, because more detailed engineering plans will identify the alignment and the route. And if there's, a historical graveyard or other type of issue that prevents the particular alignment. And then you can see here that it's kind of hard to see, but some of the collectors are now, some of the collectors, you can see here, there are two colors. One is a purple and the other one is an orangish color. So you can see down here near Windridge and also up near Redfern, we've got that identified as a minor collector as opposed to a 60 to 80 foot quote unquote collector. The other thing that we looked at is east-west connectivity. So right now you've got 380 and then in the future you'll have the outer loop. The key word here is future for the outer loop because the timeline for actually building that is still up in the air. There's obviously the outer loop team is still going through the process. There's still an environmental impact statement that needs to be done. So you're looking at several years out of constructing a roadway, much less the type of facility that they're proposing. So what we have here is we've provided other east-west alternative routes, because even when the outer loop comes in, you'll still need some other east-west routes. Typically, you like major routes to be about 1 to 2 miles from each other. And with 380 to the south and outer loop to the north, you can see that Mustang and outer loop is about just under 2 miles. And then the other ones that are shown here are either at a mile or even just under a mile. So you've got Mustang Road, and then you've got Spring Hill, which is proposed to connect to the outer loop. You've got Redfern Road, Ike Byram Road, and then you've got Frontier Parkway. So looking at a couple of these a little bit more closely, Frontier Parkway is an interesting case study because you can see that it's a very colorful roadway. So when the Windridge development was constructed, this section right here was identified as a collector. And at that time, it was the 60-foot to 80-foot right-of-way designation. And so at that point, they constructed the 60-foot right-of-way because that's what the thoroughfare plan called for. But after looking at it and reviewing it, Frontier Parkway serves more than just Aubrey. It serves a regional route because it connects 377 to Parvin and Salina through Prosper, and it eventually connects to D&T. And so it's a regional route that needs to be there. So we have it on there, even though it's a collector roadway, but you can see west of the existing 60-foot collector roadway, we have it as a minor arterial and then a major arterial to widen out as traffic demand as the traffic is demands, and then as traffic, to move traffic through the area. And this was one thing I will mention is in the previous draft version, we had this as a major arterial. Similar to the Frontier Parkway right here through Windridge. Existing right of way is 100 feet. And so as a result, you're not going to eliminate housing, which would require to get to 120 feet. So we have it at, we reduced that to 100 feet to still provide access or to provide mobility. The other one which was critical at the time, the intersection of Ike Byram and McNatt. You can see 2019. It was a real crude layout, just a 4-leg intersection with development in the area. The alignment has adjusted slightly to provide the curvature. But the main point being is that we needed both routes, both are considered major routes, and we needed them to be continuous and not have a discontinuous route for those significant roadways. So this is the proposed thoroughfare plan as of September 22nd, last week. Since that time, there have been some other discussions that have gone on to modify this, and I'll just touch on those right here. One minor thing that we had to change anyway is that Red Fern Road is misspelled, so it should be one word. So obviously that's an easy fix. The other thing is we've had meetings with the Outer Loop team as well as development in this area. And so this outer loop that you see between Coffee and McNatt, you see in this yellow line right here, that's a little bit further north than what we had in the previous version. So if you go back and forth focusing on this area right here we have highlighted, you can see that the outer loop, that's a current one, it's a little bit further north. And then the current version is a little bit, sorry, this is the current version. The one is a current draft version. So let me say, that's the draft version with it being north. And then the current thoroughfare plan from 2019 has it further south. And so with discussions with the outer loop folks and the developers in the area, it's going to be somewhat similar. It's not shown exactly by this here, but a good representation would be, it's going to be modified such that it's between the southern location here and the northern location here, more geared towards the southern area. And so, like I said, that's just a factor of talking to developers in the area, as well as talking to the outer loop team. The other thing that we had also discussed briefly is down here on the Liberty Road section. Kind of hard to see without zooming in, but we have Liberty Road straight shot from McNatt to 2931. There right now, Liberty Road, right where my arrow is, goes south and then it goes east to connect to 2931. What we're proposing to avoid cutting off property is to follow the existing alignment south and then to go to the north. The only thing that we would need to focus on is to make certain that the Liberty Road intersection connects to 2931 at a 90-degree angle. We don't want it coming in at an angle other than 90, just for safety reasons. It's best that drivers encounter trying to turn onto the major road at a 90-degree angle. That is the that's my presentation. Obviously, if there are any questions, more than willing to answer any of them. So,
Any questions from Roger? Any comments?
You just made a comment on that, down on Liberty Road.
Can you comment from
Okay.
the? Thank you.
Of course, I have the map that's up there, and I have read it in the language, it talks about once these roads are established, then, boy, it's no turning back. And what our property shows that there is a dotted line going from 2931 over to McNatt Road. And it's a dotted line which is proposed. Of course, what happens is becomes more proposed and becomes actual. And it will wipe out our property there. And he mentioned about moving it back down to where Liberty Road is, and I would appreciate it being moved down to Liberty Road where it presently is and straightening out those curves, but not come across our property. So I hope to make those changes. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, I think one thing I did fail to say is that there will have to be some modifications to the existing rotary, just in the sense that right now you've got 90-degree curves at Liberty Road. But it will follow the general alignment of the existing roadway. That's a plan.
So I know on one of those curve, 90-degree curves on Liberty, there's already been some right of way established to soften that curve. So there's an alignment already kind of in place. But it just softens that curve a little bit.
But this map here shows it going across our property, not on the same place where Liberty Road is. And we prefer to be on Liberty Road and not cutting our pasture out, like garden. House.
So again, William Cherry, 400 South Main. I also spoke in March, if you remember, and I think the plan in general is very well thought out, and I'm supportive of most of it. As you may know, I'm very opposed to the outer loop, and I know that's not only Aubrey's decision, but again, I recommend removing the outer loop from our thoroughfare plan because it makes it appear that the community supports the outer loop, and I don't think there's obviously a mixture of opinions, but I don't think it's so clear that the community is so behind the outer loop. Again, let me summarize. The projections are that putting the outer loop in makes local traffic much worse. It competes for resources with actually fixing 380 so that 380 can be upgraded as it's already approved by TxDOT, but they don't have the funding for it yet. And if you look at a broader roadmap, it's just too far south for a logical next east-west roadway. If you need another east-west freeway, it should be up closer to Lake Ray Roberts. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, my name is Frank Abbott. I'm with Kilman Horton Associates. I represent one of the larger land ownerships. First, I'd like to say thank you. Back in March, you deferred this so we could work out a number of questions and items on there. that the county has at least offered up, and that we would respectfully request that you can
Close the public hearing at 7:04.
We put a big asterisk on outer loop and go, we don't know. We just don't know. Until the county decides it's someplace on a map.
So I've got a motion. Motion.
I'm taking load here.
You're doing great, Chuck.
Mayor. We have no objection to moving. We talked to Kelly this afternoon and we talked to Frank. And we would like to be able to move it slightly south from where it's at now to mirror what's on the county map. If you could possibly make your motion, if you're going to make a motion to say that, we can go ahead and make that change and add it to the map. Same thing for Liberty.
Liberty Road ends.
I'll move that we approve an ordinance amending Article 14 of the Aubrey Code of Ordinances with those two recommendations.
Let's just be clear for the, let's,
To move the alignment of 428 and 377 farther south. Right, is it outer loop or something?
Outer loop.
The outer loop, as well as Liberty Road alignment.
Second, you second. Motion by Matt. Second by Randy. All in favor? 3-0. Thank you. Consideration action on a resolution nominating candidates to the Denton Central Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Mayor, staff has no recommendation on this, and we've not had any calls from any other entities asking to pool our 7 votes with the other 5,000 for any candidate.
Anybody know anyone?
To the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget. The net impact of these amendment items is favorable to the budget, meaning that revenue is going up a little bit and expenses are going down a little bit. So if you look at the top line there, revenue, the general fund revenue is increasing by 700,000. Water fund by 300, garbage fund by 300. And then the expense line, the general fund expenses are going down by 700,000. The water fund is going up by 200,000. And the garbage fund going up by 400,000. The capital project fund, mostly due to timing of the capital projects, is going down by 300,000. So a couple of comments. I'll read through these and then I can take any questions if you have any. We did transfer in, which is a revenue item from the park fund for the Veterans Park land purchase that we had made earlier in the year. And we're also moving out police department vehicles, which are not going to be received until next year. Those will be covered by the vehicle replacement fund approved in the budget, the 2024 fiscal year budget. In the water fund, we received some inspection fees that exceeded what we had originally expected. These would be inspection fees for the infrastructure, primarily out of Keeneland. The work was done by one of our water managers, did the inspections, and the city received 3% of the cost of those improvements. for inspection. The other item is the interest on the 2023 CO, which had been approved. The interest on that CO funds exceeded what we had originally thought. And that also benefited the water fund. The fund, we did get higher usage, so we got revenue from that. We had originally thought, so we'll make an adjustment for that. But overall, a net improvement to the plan, I mean, the budget. And no major surprises.
Make a motion, we approve the 2022-2023 budget amendment.
A second.
Motion by Randy, second by Chuck, all in favor? 3-0. Thanks, Mike. Consideration and action on ordinance amending Article 8.08 regulation of sexual offenders of Chapter 8 offenses and nuisances of the Code of Ordinances, City of Aubrey, Texas.
Mayor and council, tonight we are presenting an ordinance that will prohibiting sex offenders from residing within 1,500 feet of premises where children commonly gather within the city of Auburn to improve the quality of life and increase the safety and welfare of the citizens of Aubrey, Texas. I provided in the staff report backup documentation on studies that consider sex offenders to be a danger to children. I won't go over all of that data, but it clearly indicates that there is a danger if we don't institute a plan that regulates where they can live and protect those children from places they commonly gather. We have provided a map. The map is not, in my opinion, sufficient to allow people to determine where in the city they can and can't live, and where the citizens of Aubrey can determine if they're in a protected zone or not. So we're working with the vendor to come up with a more interactive map. The intention is to have it be posted on the police department's website where you can put an address in, and it'll explain whether or not that is a prohibited area or it's an area that they can live in. So the citizens of Aubrey can check and see if they live within a protected area. And a registered sex offender wanting to live within the jurisdiction of Aubrey can search that to find out if the property they're looking at is within a protected area. I would say that the conversations that we have been encouraging that we're going to get to this place, but we're not quite there yet. So we provided this lesser version of an interactive map, and then we hope to have one that will clearly spell out and be able to city and whether or not it's in a protected area or not. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I appreciate you doing this. We talked about putting this in place since we went home rule and we have the ability to do it. So thank you for doing the work.
Yes, sir. Attorney's office also gets a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, make a motion to accept the action on the ordinance amending Article 808, regulation of sexual offenders of Chapter 8 offenses and nuisances of the Code of Ordinances by the City of Aubrey.
Motion by Randy, second by Matt, all in favor?
Now y'all want to.
Yeah. 3-0.
I know.
Receive a presentation, consider an act on a professional services agreement with RPGA Design Group LLC to design a new city council chamber and approving a project amount not to exceed $732,025.39 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
Mayor and council, as tonight showed, we're in desperate need of more space for these meetings. So we undertook a project to try to identify an area in the city that would be the most effective option to expanding the council chambers. We selected the community center. We've carved out a portion of that community center and present you tonight with a floor plan of that option. With this project has been moving very fast. It's taken a lot of work, so a lot of people deserve thanks on this project, but I'm real happy with where we are. This is a 70-seat council chambers. It's gonna be properly wired for presentations. It's gonna provide the necessary space for us to conduct a business. The facility will also serve as the council chambers, and we've established the infrastructure there for the clerk to work to take all the payments and everything that they need during municipal court. And also will be available to the library to use during the week. We've also programmed the community center itself with audio and visual capabilities, so that if we have a meeting that exceeds the seating requirements in the chamber, that we will have an overflow area so we can set up chairs within the community center and we can hold a lot more people in there. The dais that we have designed will be able to be moved to a permanent council chambers at some point. We'll be able to dismantle it and move it. At that time, working with the library staff, we've determined that that room will be beneficial to the library and the community center. So the money that we're expending to build a council chamber, whenever a more permanent facility is designed and built, that this room is going to be able to be used. We also have the option at that time to turn it into a permanent courtroom and reset the dais into a court setting, and the library will continue to be able to use it as it is. So I think it's going to offer some future options, and that the space will be done quite well. We've also working with a company called Swagit that does production of council meetings, and they install the cameras and produce the meeting from an offsite location. And the next day they post an agenda that has agenda item specific links to the agenda items, which would be very beneficial to staff and the citizens that want to hear about a particular item. They can pull it up the next morning, click on it, just watch the video that applies to that particular item. It will remove staff responsibility from the programming of the council meetings and be able to focus on their particular job. So I really think it's going to be a benefit to the city, and I'm proud of where we are. The amount of money that we put in there, because this is moving so fast, but we had to make some broad generalizations of money. But after making this agenda item, I met with Swagit and we negotiated based on the floor plan, and have reduced the amount of money that they're gonna charge for that services by $40,000. So we're already under 700,000. We're gonna continue to bring that money down, and there's some air conditioning and things that the estimated costs that we got that we don't believe we're gonna need, and those are somewhere in the $40,000 range. So we believe we're gonna be able to cut that amount of money significantly, but we had to move forward so we could get this process moving. I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be very nice, and I definitely believe this is a need. Answer any questions that you. Absolutely. He can add.
Mayor and council, as we've discussed this before, we talked about needing the space you saw tonight. I counted, we had over 50 people in here tonight and it was pretty tight. And it gets pretty hot in here pretty fast. I've had a couple of questions from citizens regarding this. They've heard about it since we did talk about it in an open meeting. I want to assure our citizens that we are still going to have a community center. It's almost 2,000 square feet that will be a rentable location for citizens to use. During this process, we're also going to make upgrades to the community center. We're going to refurbish the floor, refurbish the ceiling, make sure our kitchen is up to speed for everything that we need. The kitchen will still be there and usable for people to rent. We will also we're going to do some sound dampening in that room because, as you know, we've all been there before. And if you try to use any kind of sound amplification in there, it just echoes terribly. So we're going to try to dampen some of the sound in there to give our citizens a more sound appropriate location to have their events. The library staff, they really don't want to put too much on the walls and do too much in the room because our citizens don't want that. They want a clean space where they can do what they want to do in the facility without having a lot of photographs or other things on the wall that we would, like to have in our council chambers. So it's still going to be available to them. We did ask the library staff to research their events, and they only have one event per year that uses the entire 4,000 square feet. And we will work with them to find them another location to do that. I've already asked Brittany to reach out to them and make sure that they understand what's going on. Another plus to this is what we're dealing with right now is during voting season, during early voting, our facility is down for 2 weeks. We can't use it. We can't even go inside it. We're not allowed to be where the voting machines are at. So this will give us an opportunity that when the council is not in session, the library can still have their programs in the council chamber, just not near the dais. So it'll be really a benefit for the library. It's a benefit for the city. It's a benefit for our citizens, and it's all around a good all-purpose use for this. As we know, we've all seen it. It's just an empty space right now. And I think this is a really good use for it. I think everybody's going to like the chamber once it's done, and it'll be really nice. So, and I want to thank Chief Brooks for taking this on as a project. He's done all of this work and put this together. It was a team effort, but he really took the lead and talked to everyone, got the numbers for us, and put it together. So I want to thank him as well. And we're here for your questions.
A question? Not really a question, more of a comment. I know the trend is the circle, but I still like the horseshoe feeling. I don't like closing off the citizens from feeling like they're part of the discussion. Open that up more as a horseshoe instead of a circle.
The upper part where the council sits will be elevated.
Yeah,
That horseshoe
it's
portion?
more where the staff sits, is that closed in. It just gives the impression that we're having a conversation with staff and not including the citizens in that, with staff's back to the citizens.
We have talked about opening up slightly, so because we don't. So where the circle is, this is just a quick drawing that the architects did for us. We're actually going to move the staff further back, so there's an opening on either side, so that like the process that we had here tonight with the staff that was here being promoted and the new folks. If the way it looks right now, the mayor would have to get up and traverse all the way around and then push the podium out of the way to go inside the circle. Well, we are going to address that. We want to bring the staff further back away from the dais, and those will swing out just slightly so that it won't be a complete circle. It'll be a semicircle, but it'll be more like a horseshoe, it'll be in between a horseshoe and a semicircle and a circle.
Okay.
So yes, we have addressed that. This is just the drawing to get it in front of you, like the chief was saying, so that we could go ahead and move forward, because we hope to be done sometime in the spring or late winter if we can. Our architect is here tonight for another item, and he's working this for us now. In your consent agenda was the professional services agreement for him to do this for us. So we're ready to get going on it.
Well, it's definitely needed.
I attend a Providence Village and their staff faces the council. And I'm a little hard of hearing, so I appreciate opening that up. It's a little hard for me to see when I can't face the people.
Yes.
What kind of time frame are we thinking about using this for? How long is this going to be used?
We're ready to build another facility.
Then I was curious as to why it's got space for 6 council members and a mayor. I'm sure you're all aware the charter's got 5 council members and a mayor.
The charter calls for a 6th council member at a certain point, so just in case we get to that point, we want to be prepared for it. And if we're still in this. Like you said, if the dice can move to the future facility, we want the dice to be able to accommodate what the charter calls for.
All right, that's my question. Thanks.
Planning and zoning is also 70, and they will meet here as well.
I like it because I'll actually be able to see you, Chuck. Yeah. Not that you
With
want
that-
to see,
without
going around. Not that you want to see this face. No,
But also with the production of the council meeting from Swagat, there will be a camera that will be on the speaker. And there will be TVs where the gallery will see the face of the person speaking. So they will switch the camera to the person speaking and it will be on the video screen.
Let me go back up just for a second and reiterate that we are doing this as dual purpose. So when the council finally moves out of this will be a small stage area for the library to have events. That was our goal. We'll fill in the portion of the circle. Once the council moves out and goes to a new city hall at some point down the road, it'll be a raised area for the library to have events in, because they do magic shows and clowns and things like that. And this would be perfect for them to have a venue for those types of programs. So we're building this now with the thought of we're going to use this for a different purpose 10 years from now or whatever that time frame is.
I like it. Do we need a motion?
You may make.
Sure, go ahead. Since you know where we are.
Make a motion to approve professional services agreement with RPGA Design Group LLC to design a new city council chamber and approving a project amount not to exceed $732,025.39 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
I'll second.
Motion by Randy, second by Chuck, all in favor? Passes 4-0. All right, receive a presentation, consider an act on awarding a bid for the construction of fire station number 3, providing for a not to exceed amount and authorizing the city manager to execute necessary documents.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm very excited to present this next item. All right, the item before you tonight is a discussion, presentation, and an action to award a construction bid for the construction of the fire station number 3 and police substation. Let me back up so we can all look at the picture. So this is the layout. This would be the corner. This is the corner of FM 2931 and Frontier Parkway. So this would be looking southwest at the corner of the building. Again, it's located at that intersection. The building will consist of approximately 15,926 square feet. Inside the facility, there will be both fire and police services in the building. On the fire side, there will be a ladder truck, our first ladder truck, an ambulance, an ancillary vehicle. The battalion chief will be moving to that station. And the EMS captain will be assigned there as well. And in the police department, the station will house the CID division and I believe an administrative position. The history of the project, a need was determined. That's the start of any project. For an additional fire station. In particular, this station is required as a part of a developer agreement with the Lakes Freshwater District or Silverado. Site assessment was conducted and land acquisition was completed. We engaged the services of Robert Garza with RPGA Design Group to design the station. Him and his team went through detailed programming to determine what needed to be in the building, schematic design and layout. And then finally, construction documents have been completed, which brings us here tonight to award a contract for construction. The bid process, again, RPGA conducted the construction bid process for us. The bid packet was created and advertised in accordance with all city and state requirements. A public bid opening and reading of bids occurred here at City Hall last week on Friday at 2:30. We received 4 bids. Novel Builders, Crossland Construction, Construction Zone, and Lee Lewis Construction all submitted bids. If you look to the right, we determined that 3 of the bids were reasonable in nature and price. The 4th bid was very high, so we didn't look any further. And so we evaluated the bottom 3 bids. Novel Builders submitted a base bid of $8.6 million. The bid included, all 3 bids include a 7.5% contingency, which is just to cover anything that might happen along the way. And then furniture, fixture, furnishings and equipment is the same for all 3, and that's just not included in the total amount. We wanted to demonstrate for you the total cost that we believe will incur for construction. So Novel Builders was the low bid at a total of $9.5 million, followed by Crossland Construction at 9.8, and finally Construction Zone at 10.2. The obvious next question is, do we have the money for this? And we do. So we have the 2022 certificate of obligation bonds. We have 9 million in that account, just over that. And then we have a fire fund that you're all aware of. And that will round us out to the total of 10 million, which we believe will be under. Both accounts are fully funded and we are ready to begin construction as fast as the awarded bidder can. The selection process to determine the best value for the citizens of Aubrey. A 3-member selection committee was created to evaluate and score the bid submissions. Members toured 3 locations and evaluated current and past work of both Novel Builders and Crossland Construction. Bids were scored on a 100-point scale based on the following areas. Proposed price had an available 65 points. The schedule or time frame to complete the project for 10 points. References and experience 15 points, and relevancy or similar projects 10 points. It's important to note when you look down at the scoring matrix that if a bidder received a 0 in any category, then their total became 0 as a function of our scoring mechanism. So across the top, the 1, 2, and 3 were the 3 committee members. You can see the builders along the left, and you can see the total score. So if an available 300 points, Novel Builders received 236 points, or 79% of a 100 score. Crossland Construction received 271 points, or a total of 90% of the total available score. And Construction Zone did receive a 0 in a couple of the categories, and thus their total score is 0. In conclusion, staff recommends awarding the construction contract to Crossland Construction in an amount not to exceed $9,861,250. And with that, we do have our architect, Robert Garza, here tonight with us, and we also have a member of Crossland Construction here with us. And we would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
How's that gonna get started?
I'm hoping next week.
Break ground tomorrow.
That one slide. Yeah. You got that one.
I do believe that in the packets, the initial packet that Crossland submitted, they estimated around 420 days, I believe it was, somewhere close to that. So that would be spring of 25. Calendar days. They're all working days.
Just want to make sure that the heck weekend's still in there.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Looks good.
Yeah. Mayor, council, I just want to say that this is a very important step for us. This will be a really nice addition to our fire department and our ability to provide services for a large number of our community under contract. Everyone that worked on this has put a lot into it, including the council, purchasing the vehicles and preparing and culminating in today and awarding the contract. So everybody deserves a heavy round of applause for getting this to this point and getting us to a new fire station. So thank you all for everything we've done. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ross.
Mayor, I move that we award the bid for construction of fire station number 3 to Crossland in an amount not to exceed $9,861,250.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Chuck, all in favor? 4-0.
Thank you all very much. Fire station.
All right, consideration and action on ordinance amending appendix A fee schedule of the Code of Ordinances, amending various fees contained in Article A3.000, building related fees, Article A5.0, fire prevention fees, Article 6.0, code enforcement fees, Article A7.0, utilities, including impact fees, water rates and sewer rates, Article A8.0, planning and zoning fees, Article A10.0, third-party consulting fees, A11.0, public infrastructure fees, Article A12.0, library fees, and Article A13.0, community center fees, and providing an effective date.
Mayor and council, this ordinance we're bringing in front of you tonight is for the master fee schedule. In your packet, you were given a red line copy that actually shows each of the sections and the changes. I did want to go over those just real briefly with you tonight. As you know, our master list, we evaluate that every year around budget time, determine if we need to make any adjustments to those. The changes that we're proposing that need to be made to this year's schedule is water and sewer rates. We proposed a 6% increase for water and a 4% increase for sewer when we built the 23-24 budget. We needed to make some public infrastructure inspection fee changes due to state law that was effective September 1st. If you recall, Mike mentioned we had a 3% fee in the past. We can no longer base that off of the cost of construction, so we had to come up with some new matrix. Also, our water and sewer impact fees were recently amended and approved, and we have those changes in here as well. So they'll be consistent with that ordinance. As the mayor read, these are all the different departments. So we have some building related, fire prevention, code enforcement, utilities, planning and zoning, the third-party consulting fees, public infrastructure fees, library fees, and community fees. In the building area, we added a permit revision fee for solar permits. We've continued to see revisions come in after the permit application came in numerous times back and forth. We are charged for that, so we're just trying to recoup our money. So if we do have one that needs to go back and forth numerous times, then we'll have to charge for that. Also the, contractor fees, there's some laws in place now where we can't charge certain trades and we can charge the other trades. So we made those amendments. We removed the fees for electricians and HVAC and added a fee for general contractors. Fire prevention, we just had a minor change. We added the ability to be able to charge for underground storage tank monitoring and for demolition of structures. We've recently had a few of those and may have some more. State law requires that the fire department monitor during those events. So we established a fee to recoup that cost. Code enforcement, we do have a new mowing contract going out for bid soon. And one of the areas that's in there is garbage or brush removal. So we wanted to make sure we had a fee in place to cover that in case we had to do that at a property under a code violation. The utilities, we updated the water and sewer impact fees, as I mentioned earlier. The 6% water rate increase will result in a $2.22 per month increase for just the base rate. The sewer would be $1.34 for the base rate. We compared to our neighboring cities that we have in the past. We are still kind of on the high side, but we're small. The more rooftops we get, then hopefully that will even out. There was also some duplicated information in the ordinance. We just did some cleanup, and those red lines are in your packet. Zoning, planning and zoning fees. We added fees for third and subsequent thereafter reviews. We have had some plats, some site plans that we have had 3 and 4 and 5 reviews, which is well exceeding the cost that we charge. So we're just trying to add that in. The ones that need to pay, and the ones that don't need to pay, don't have to pay. Helps us recoup. We added engineering review fees for plats, drainage plans, and traffic impact analysis. Those are specialized areas that aren't included in every submittal. So that allows us to recoup the cost there. We had a slight increase in our site plan application, the variance fee, and for posting legal notices. Those fees have increased. They range anywhere from $50 to over $200. So we were just trying to balance that a little bit. Our comparison cities, just so you know, for these fees, we compared Salina, Prosper, Little Elm, Pilot Point, and Providence Village, and we are in line with all of them. The public infrastructure inspection fees, going from the 3%, we were able to come up with a matrix. Our fee is $90 per hour, and then we established the minimum hours per linear foot or per square feet, depending on whether it's paving or storm drain or water or sewer. The library and community center fees, these are not new fees. They just were not in our master fee schedule, so we wanted to add them. And community center as well. I put them on the same slide, didn't I? There we go. All right. Is there any questions or anything I didn't touch on that you've seen in your staff report?
That's all for me.
Yep.
I'll move approval of the ordinance amending Appendix A fee schedule of the Code of Ordinances.
I'll second.
Motion by Matt, second by Chuck, all in favor? 4-0.
You waited too long.
Patricia, do I need to read these other items now, or?
If you're going to, are you going to hold off on those until after closed session?
Correct.
Okay, I just say the numbers that you're gonna hold off on, and we'll come back and.
Items 29, item 30, Item 31, we will do after executive session. Item 32, Aubrey Planning and Zoning Commission on removing, appointing, and reappointing members of the Aubrey Planning and Zoning Commission. Do we have a resignation?
I'm on approval to accept the resignation of Eric.
Second.
Guys.
Second.
All right, motion by Chuck, second by Jeff, all in favor? 4-0. All right, department updates. Council discussion.
Mayor, council members, it is my pleasure tonight to introduce you to Shayna Williams. She is our new HR director. She comes to us by way of Denton County. Shayna has a bachelor's of business administration and management from Bachelor of Business Administration and Management from Texas State University. She was an HR manager at Denton County from 26. Decided to come work with us. And she also has prior experience in HR going back to 2003. So Shayna is here to see us tonight. She's hit the ground running. We have a number of major projects that she's already working on. I mean, we really don't see her. She stays in her office and gets a whole lot done because there's, as you know, AJ leaving, we only had an HR director for 1 year. And so there were a lot of projects and that were not done. AJ was in progress, and I think he came in a couple of weeks after he left, and he sat down with Shayna and gave her a rundown of everything we're working on. So she was able to hit the ground running. So it's really great for us. We're really glad to have her here.
Thank you. Hopefully you're in your office.
Not yet. Hopefully next week. I just wanted to say how happy I am to be here. I'm really excited to have opportunity to work with such a great team you guys already have established. I'm looking forward to supporting the citizens of Aubrey, and anything I can do to help support you, just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
Welcome aboard. We won't hold the Denton County thing against you.
I like the game. I have a stack of paperwork. Thank you.
Good evening again, Mayor and members of council. The map that I handed out is regarding our outdoor warning sirens. Several meetings ago, Councilwoman Allen and Councilmember Perry both asked about coverage for our outdoor warning sirens. So I've got the coverage map for you. This first map is for the downtown proper area. We have 3 sirens. You see the overlapping circles. The faint yellow line is our city limits. And so you can see that we have very good coverage for the area. The second map is the coverage area for Wind Ridge. And we have a single siren located in that neighborhood. And you can see there again that we more than cover the area with the expected coverage from the siren. We'll note that, as I've mentioned a couple of times before, and I'm sure you can understand the reality of this when you're at your own home, outdoor warning sirens are not intended to be heard inside your house. They are only meant to tell people that are outside to go somewhere and get more information inside. They don't tell you what's coming or where it's coming from or how bad it is. They just tell you to get inside and get more information. So they're not meant to be heard in your house. So when we have issues where we hear citizens talking about not being able to hear them in their homes, there is no expectation for that. There are far better resources that we want everybody to use and subscribe to get that information. And as we've talked about, we'll be bringing those back, the weather radios, Code Red, any number of weather apps that you can download for free. Those all far exceed the expectations of outdoor warning sirens, but these are a valuable tool in our toolbox, and we use them, and we are well covered. Right now, I wouldn't recommend any additional sirens until we have a change in our footprint that would demonstrate a need for additional ones.
Can we discuss with maybe High Point Ranch and Keeneland, between the two of them, adding a siren somewhere? Because these circles don't cover.
They don't cover the expected additional areas. Certainly, we could see what that would look like. And it should be easily added. It should just be the cost of the siren itself and then pole and erection.
Between the two of them, they can hold a bake sale or something.
They're not terrible, especially when you're adding them to your system, an already existing system. The real expense is in the hardware and software that controls the entire system. The sirens themselves are not too terribly bad. Any other questions?
I should.
Mayor and council, I'm back. If you recall, I talked to you about the transition to a new CAD RMS vendor through the Denton County Sheriff's Office. That transition occurred in August and revealed some issues, and those issues are reporting. So our old way of pulling data to do our monthly report went away. And it went away before we realized it was gonna go away. So we have been in contact with Mark 43 and we're working closely with them to take our Aubrey PD's monthly report, put that into the system where it draws those numbers themselves. We had to manually do the monthly report. We're no longer gonna have to do that. They're saying about 4 to 6 weeks, and that report should be completed. As you can imagine, with all the agencies that went through this transition, they're all screaming at Mark 43 to get them reporting requirements. So I feel pretty good about that timeline. But it's also gonna make us more effective and efficient, because from now on, our monthly report will be a one button push and the numbers will be compiled. We'll print out the report and we'll be done. And we won't have to do the manual things that we had to do in splitting Aubrey and Silverado and Providence Village. All that's gonna be done for us in the way we set it up through districting and identifying specific locations where crimes occur or incidents occur. It's gonna be simple. It's just gonna take a little computer time. So I apologize for the monthly reporting for the next couple of months, but we're hoping to have that done in 4 to 6 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah.
Mayor, council, just want to give you a quick update on the street projects. So they're pretty well finished over on High Meadow. We have a walkthrough next week. There's a few spots that we've already identified that need smoothed out. So they'll be working on those and doing the crosswalk for the school, painting it. On October 9th, they plan on moving over to the next phase 2, which is behind the car wash on Willow, that cul-de-sac area there. We thought they were gonna move over this week, but they had some issues, and it'll be the 9th where they can start over there.
Is the crosswalk the only stopping they're gonna do over there? Are they gonna do stop lines at the stop signs or a center line at the stoplight by the Sonic?
Did we have a center line at Sonic before?
I don't believe we did, no.
We can ask them to add one.
But it's a large gray area that some people believe is 1 lane, 2 lanes, maybe 3 lanes, however many cars they can fit side by side.
Okay.
Without falling off on the ditch.
I'll talk to them about it and see if they can add that for us.
Future agenda requests, council members, staff, or citizens can request items to be on future agendas. Discussion is limited to what the request is for, and if and when the item can be added to the agenda.
All right, one more time, William Cherry, 400 South Main Street. I heard somewhere that we were maybe going to put a traffic light at Main and Sherman, and I think we need to definitely do something about that corner, but the traffic is only really bad there a couple hours a day, and it's really bad those couple hours a day, but traffic lights are not usually the best solution for situations like that. The downtown plan that Aubrey approved a long time ago had that as a traffic circle, which I think would really be a better aesthetic thing for the downtown. I spoke with Leanne about this the last time I was here 6 months ago, and she pointed out there's not enough right of way to do that, but there's also some. My understanding is to put the traffic light in, TXDOT has to do some reconstruction of the intersection anyway. There are some triangular lots that are undeveloped, and I don't know whether it's financially feasible for the city to think about purchasing those triangular lots, which would bring some more space to that intersection. And I just would like the city to maybe think about, do they want to purchase the land and let TXDOT do the construction to actually, TXDOT, I bet if there was enough room, would be willing to put in the traffic circle, because although it's initially more expensive than the traffic light, in the long run, it's a comparable cost.
Mr. Chair, you got way more confidence in TxDOT than I do.
If you read their literature, they're pretty pro traffic circles. That doesn't mean the local guy that you would talk to would be in favor of it, but.
I'm also in favor of.
I am too. I like the idea.
I think it would really be much aesthetically much better, but Leon explained to me why there's a space problem.
And remember Dwayne, he would say that Kim designed some real nice traffic circles in Union Park, so.
Well, TxDOT doesn't have a big reputation of listening to cities, not really. And usually when they decide to do something, it's about 2 years out. And I think they've already approved the light there, right?
Yeah.
So.
They haven't approved when they're gonna do it, but they've approved they're gonna.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I think that helps.
Yeah.
All right, another question?
Yep.
And then we'll move to executive session. In accordance with Texas Government Code, section 551.001. EDSEC, the city council will recess into executive session to discuss the following. Section 551.071, 1 and 2, consultation with an attorney for interlocal agreements with Denton County Freshwater Supply District, easement acquisition for public infrastructure, Duck Point Development, Municipal Development District Board members, Industrial District, and the Mailar Development. Section 551.072, real property for land acquisition for project 38, land acquisition for project RAP, easement acquisition for public infrastructure, and section 551.0712 and 551.074 personnel matters for MDD directors, city manager goal setting, and city secretary goal setting.
Mayor, I move to go into executive session.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Randy, all in favor? 4-0, time is.
Flower to go.
All right, we'll reconvene into open session. Time is 12:30. Yeah, 12:30, September 29th. We're gonna go back to item number 29. Consideration and action regarding a development agreement with DTC Ventures for an approximate 3.79 acre tract of land generally located north of Red Friend Road and east of High Meadow Drive within the city's ETJ, providing development regulations for general retail, commercial, and light industrial uses, providing terms for annexation, and authorizing the mayor or designee to execute necessary documents. Pick up everybody.
Do we need to provide the terms for annexation?
I thought that was Was that-
This is a development agreement, and so annexation is part of that. There are some development standards for, and this is an industrial development. And so there are development standards, and I believe the applicant has already signed a petition. So with the approval of the development agreement tonight, then the annexation will proceed forward.
I'll move that we approve development agreement with DTC Ventures.
I'll second.
Motion by Matt, second by Chuck, all in favor? 4-0.
I wasn't sure if he was done.
That's what I keep thinking.
All right, consideration and action regarding an ordinance designating an industrial district in the ETJ of the city, providing for the designation of Aubrey Industrial District Number 1 for tourist-related businesses and facilities, farming and ranching industry, and other industrial purposes occurring within the city's ETJ, and providing an effective date.
Well, as everyone who knows Aubrey knows, Aubrey is horse country and the ETJ is filled with livestock, farming and ranching industry, as well as tourist attractions and countryside that draws visitors to our ETJ and city. Some of these include hay farms, sod farms, tack shops, equipment sales and repair, trailer sales, stables, farm supply stores, welding companies, event centers, storage facilities, aggregate industrial centers, fuel and propane sales, equestrian animal attractions, equine facilities. The industrial districts are economic development tools, which are sometimes could be used by the MDD to promote tourism and industry in the ETJ. And with that, I'd like to move to approve an ordinance designating an industrial district in the ETJ of the city.
I'll second.
And just to clarify, there are 4 districts that are being created. So I think at the time of posting, we just put 1, but there are actually 4 as we define the map. And that's covered in the ordinance.
Thank you. 4 industrial districts.
Who's
I'll
second?
second.
Motion by Matt, second by Chuck, all in favor? 4-0. Item 31, Aubrey Municipal Development District Board, consideration action on removing, appointing, and reappointing members from the Aubrey Municipal Development District Board. We have a couple of items on this one, as noted on your agenda.
I move to approve or to accept the resignation of Jack Hopper.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Matt for Jack Hopper's resignation, all in favor? 4-0.
I move that we approve that Erin Bogar, I can't find it in the, I move that we approve her application for the MDD.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Matt, all in favor? 4-0.
Right, council met with, had concerns about MDD board, that was brought to their attention. After meeting with Jesse, council has met with them and reviewed and discussed, and we would like to allow him 60 days. And then we'll revisit where we're at in 60 days, okay? And that's what we've come to a fair agreement on.
I'll second.
Motion by Randy, second by Matt, all in favor? 4-0. And then 33, consideration action on a resolution authorizing the execution of necessary documents for the acquisition of real property for a new fire station.
I move that we approve a resolution authorizing the execution of necessary documents for the acquisition of real property for a new fire station.
Second.
By Matt, second by Jeff, all in favor?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I think.
Good job, Reynolds.